How shocked are you about this news?
Really shocked. After dealing with Daniel myself for a long time as well, I didn't envisage him stepping away anytime soon. I felt he had a lot to try and still achieve for the club, even though I know they'd won the Europa League. But it's come as a big surprise, and for someone who is so keen on having so much to say and so much involvement in the club day in, day out, that must have been a big ask for him to step away from, and a big decision, because he is the one that the buck stops with. Everything goes through him. Everything that's been organised, the way the club is run, it all goes through Daniel Levy. So yeah, it would have been a huge decision for him to step away from that.
Have you any idea what could be behind it?
I don't know whether it's the clamour of fans of late. There's been a lot more protesting, and I think the changing of managers over the last few seasons has not gone down well with them. They've you can just see from the banners up there that they've just really wanted to get a change, but it's hard to say, because you think the grass is not always greener. That's such a cliche, but it's not always. And I suppose when people look back on this, they'll probably look at Daniel Levy and think, well, he has left a huge legacy with the development of the stadium, with the development of the training ground, some of the youth team players he's brought through, the Hurricanes. He's delivered a trophy, not in the way they would have liked. They would have loved to have won a trophy with a manager that's still at the club and pushing them on. But, you know, the level of success he's had at the club, with the amount of times they've played in the Champions League, has been huge. It's just the wage structure has always been something that the fans are keen on. And I think the lack of investment in that side of things has been something that's really kind of been tarnished against him. So I think, but if you look back at it and you think, you know what, it's been successful enough.
Obviously, they missed out on transfer targets in the summer, didn't they? Eze for one, and obviously going to Arsenal, that must have hurt. And Gibbs White as well. Do you think that has had a major factor in this decision?
I feel that the way Daniel does business, and the way he's such a hard negotiator. You know, I don't think that would have helped the way those deals went through, or the way they fell through. I think everybody felt with the Eze deal that if they had to just moved a little bit quicker, that would have got over the line and they would have got him through the door. And I think everybody involved in Tottenham would have loved to see Eze in the white shirt. To then end up at your fiercest rivals down the road wouldn't have been nice. And I think that has been put a lot of pressure on the Daniel. So I definitely think that's a factor. Absolutely. And you see the clamoring on social media and everything. And these days you can't get away from it. So absolutely, that would have probably fed into his decision. But I don't think he's a person that you know, I don't think he's always led and said by what's said about him. I think he's always been able to be single-minded and go about his business without the criticism. So it's still a shock that if they're being parts of it, I wouldn't have thought that would have been enough to send him over the edge and push him out. So I would have felt that this must have been something that was in the pipeline.
But Stephen, you said at the beginning of this interview, you know, you know him well. You know, he's a shrewd operator, isn't he? And you said, you know, you think he's got broad shoulders. What will he be thinking tonight? You know, what will he expect, you know, the reaction to be? Will that worry him in any way as well? Whether there will be fans saying, great, he's gone, or whether they will cling to his legacy, like you mentioned?
I think it will always hurt if you feel like you've given your all to something and it's not appreciated, which I'm sure Daniel feels he has, and it feels like he's left a legacy to some extent. But there's always going to be criticisms labelled at the way he goes about things, the way he's conducted himself. Like he's so harsh in how he deals with agents, and he's so harsh in how he deals with transfer fees, and he only wants the best. And I think if you're a glass half full type person, you think he only wants the best for Tottenham Hotspur. He only wants them to be getting the best bang for their buck, and you can't say he hasn't gone about that the right way. But what's labelled at now is that has that really progressed the club in the sense on the pitch. You know, the stadium is sensational, and it should have top-end Champions League football with way more trophies than what they've been able to produce. And especially when you have the likes of, when you have someone like a Harry Kane in your side, when you've got like what's potentially could have been the top goal scorer in the Premier League history, to not go and build a team around someone like that and really throw money in behind it and the right players in the right direction. I think that's something that it might be a regret of his potentially. But yeah, it is still a shock.
OK. In one word, does he leave them in a good place? Literally one word.
Oh, yes.
OK, thank you.